Greetings and welcome to In Depth. I'm Dike Rostant. We are talking about things that are happening in the capital city, and we're doing so with the mayor, Mayor Martinez, Joel Martinez. So stay tuned for that. Greetings, Mayor. How you do?
Very good. And yourself? How are things?
I'm all right, thank you. Looking forward to this conversation. Now, there was recently a lot of excitement as the Downtown Carnival launch took place. Now, it's one thing you're inside the excitement, you're wearing your colors, you're explaining the theme, but after it has passed, what has the feedback been like, and what have you thought about that launch itself?
First of all, let me say that any launch of Downtown Carnival over the years have been significant and has been memorable. And that is really because we honor our icons, which is our local people. It's almost like we put on a special presentation to honor our people. And you know, that's something that we hardly ever do in our celebrations. We talk about it, and we talk about wanting to honor them, make them feel that they are Trinidadian and Tobagonian, but we don't do it until we end up doing it posthumously. And Port of Spain has decided that we will always do things differently. I've just continued the tradition that has been happening for a number of years, and we have honored tremendous amount of young soca and calypso artists over the years, and the Port of Spain Corporation continues to do it. And usually how we start is we start with a parade that comes down Frederick Street, it starts at Memorial Park, and what a place to start. The top of Frederick Street, Memorial Park is basically a sacred square, and it's where we want to ultimately launch our what you call this thing, when we honor our icons on the pavement and put their name in history as such, which is the Walk of Fame. And we want to start the Walk of Fame by Napa, and we will do it throughout different parts of Port of Spain ultimately, but that's where we want to start it because it's a cultural space, and Memorial Park is right opposite. So Memorial Park is where we honor the soldiers who fought for many, many years, and we have respected them every year at the Memorial Day. And then if we do our national icons who have contributed so much to the development of Port of Spain and Trinidad and Tobago, around there called the Walk of Fame, then why not a better place? So we come down Frederick Street in a parade so that people will see the Jab Jab, Moko Jambi, Peregrinaad, those different traditional characters. And we go down to Independence Square by Brian Lara Promenade, come up Abercrombie Street, and end by Knox Street, which is Woodford Square, which, as you know, is another iconic space in the city of Port of Spain. So we touch on Brian Lara Promenade, and then we end up at Woodford Square, and that's where we actually launch Downtown Carnival with a number of artists. And we invite, like this year, we invited a lot of people from the Diplomatic Corps. We invited people who we were honoring, and then we also decided that we would invite some members who we would have honored them with the key to the city, and so on. So with the limited space that we have, we try to do our best to make it a grand venture, and it turned out to be a grand venture. And as you know, we honored Fair and Lions, and also the Gemma Jordan, who was a broadcaster, and for many, many years. So it's not just an artist that would have sang or characterized themselves in a particular way, but someone who gave of their time and their voice to Downtown Carnival and to the city of Port of Spain in so many ways.
And I'm one of those who counts themselves lucky to have shared broadcasting duties with Gemma Jordan. So you know the caliber of the person that you're dealing with. But in terms of that limited space, limited resources, everyone talks about limited resources, Mayor. But that brings into question the importance of, or the significance of actually having public-private partnerships to do things or to get things done. Where are you on that from where you sit?
Well, this year and every year there, before this year, we, in order to launch Downtown Carnival, we had to bring in a sponsor to work with us. And over the years, you know, Power 102 was one of the main sponsors, and they were able to do a lot of behind the scenes and broadcast the event to make it to let you know the date. This year, we partnered with Digicel, and that's why we call it Red City, you know. And that was our way of finding a way to, as a main sponsor. But we also had a lot of little sponsors and medium sponsors that would have been part of the offering. And events like this, we can't do it without funding. And we are always trying to work with corporate Port of Spain or corporate Trinidad to be able to stage all these national type events.
And looking at those national type events, what are some of the things that you say, okay, well, yes, we want to do a little more of this. We want to include this in the calendar. Is there anything that we'll be seeing a little different? And we're even doing so with the knowledge that we are able to do things in a way that we may not have been able to do for the last 2 years.
One of the things that in terms of culture again, is that in 2019, we were honored with the city was honored with designation, which is the UNESCO City of Music designation. And we got that designation for the City of Festivals. What happened thereafter is, on the heels of that, we were starting to prepare to have a number of events in the city of Port of Spain that would be sustainable over the years and so on, which is, as I kind of hinted to you just now, which is the Walk of Fame, is a way of honoring our icons and so on. Because, as I said, if we do it, it will be there on the pavement forever, right? Just like we Walk of Fame. And if but in order to do it, we're going to need sponsors to be able to help us to grow the event. We may start off putting it together with our funding, but in order to continue it and develop it, we're going to need sponsorship. One of the other things that we had indicated as a city was to show the characterization of the fact that, listen, we are a city of festivals. Is there anything in the city that you can go around the city and say, yes, Port of Spain is the city of Carnival? No. There's no character. There's no monument. There's no nothing, right? So one of the other things that we wanted to do was to have ambient music on the Brian Lara Promenade. And that would be music that would be, you know, like if you go to these theme parks around the world, you hear music playing in the background, and then create that musical space so that artists can come on a Friday afternoon, bring your single pan, bring a little group, bring a piano, bring some violin, whatever it is, and come together and put on various acts on a Friday afternoon after 4, that sort of thing. So you keep people in the space, and as they pass, they can enjoy it. Like how, you know, you see it happen in subways, you see it happen on the streets of big cities. Why can't we do that with so much cultural artists, so much talent in Trinidad? Why can't we do that and start downtown in the city, you know? So having ambient music would be something that we can utilize, and it would also be a gift to the passerby or the visitor. And ultimately, what we would have liked to have done was to also beautify Broadway. And in the process of beautifying Broadway, make it a sort of festival area, although it is, and it would be linked to the promenade. It would also clean up and bridge a link between the promenade and South Key. Because, you know, in South Key, we have the museum at the corner, and it has been closed for a long time. We want to find a way to get it resurrected and open it to the visitors who visit downtown Port-of-Spain and the city of Port-of-Spain, because it's called the Port-of-Spain Museum, and not the National Museum, you know. And while that area, which is Broadway, looks beautified, we were going to put some flagpoles that we would launch the national flag there, and have every morning our police officers take a walk from the City Hall all the way down to Independence Square, launch the flag, the national flag, together with the city's flag, which is the corporation flag, and play the national anthem through the ambient music, so that people can actually hear the anthem play on a morning and see a ceremony. And then on weekends, you can add the mountain branch, or you can add the Girl Guides or the Brownies or the Scouts or whatever it is, and have them join the parade to do it on a weekend, you know, so that people will come out to the city within a weekend to see the festival or the parade take place. Although it's a simple parade, it's a very significant and memorable parade that we were looking to create. And then, for instance, too, if we have...
And just before you make that point, let's take a short break, because I even want to come back to that last point you made, Mayor Martinez. And we just take a short break and we continue this conversation on the other side. Stay with us. Welcome back. We are going in depth. We have a conversation with Mayor of Port-of-Spain, His Worship Alderman Joel Martinez, and you just spoke about that the flag raising, and I'll call it observing the flag being raised, and this is one of the things, and I can imagine changing of the guard in the Royal Guard in Britain, and these sorts of things that people look forward to. People make it a point to go and say I was there, and these are some of the things that I think can be happening in Port-of-Spain as you outline. And even like looking at the significance of Port-of-Spain being named a UNESCO City of Music, and being able to build on that, the way that we may have walking tours in the capital, and saying how that ties into the stars, or saying you have this acknowledgement of people who have made a contribution. I think that also helps to have different items that people can look to outside of events like Carnival, and so that there is a steady flow, a steady diet, and just more reason to visit the capital city. Is that part of why the rollout is being conceived like this?
Well, if you're thinking about revitalizing a city, and you want to bring people back into a city, you want to encourage people to live in the city, you want people to respond to the city, you want people to be able to enjoy the city, you have to give people something to do in the city. And if something like a flag ceremony, you have visitors who come off of a ship at 7 o'clock in the morning, and you can come down to let's say the promenade and see a raising ceremony take place, right? It doesn't have to be 6 o'clock in the morning. It could be 9 o'clock in the morning when a lot of people are within the city. But you have a flag raising ceremony whereby the officers, which is the city police, parade down Frederick Street, which is only for a short while. So the traffic coming down Frederick Street will understand that. But you're going down Frederick Street. You have the mountain branch, which is police officers on horses. You have the cadets, which are young people. You have Girl Guides, young people. You have Brownies, young people. And you always have young people involved in it. And you have them in a disciplined manner, marching along the street in their uniform, crisp and nice. And people can see that, and the young person can feel that pride doing it, right? You start to change the dynamic of the young person and the way they think, right? And then if you have, let's say, we twin with a number of cities around the world, when they have their national day, we should be able to raise their flag in our city and say, you know, that because they are our sister city, so we can have the national flag, we can have the corporation city flag, and then you have the flag of we have how many embassies in Trinidad, and today we celebrate an Australia Day. Why can't we put up Australia flag, you know? And that way you the city, or the people who utilize the city, will start realizing, but wait now, why does they have an Australian flag there today? And you know, it's because we are celebrating Australia National Day also. And then we have independence. When we have our Independence Day, don't we invite all the diplomatic corps to the stadium, sorry, to the grandstand to view the whole process? Well, it's just a matter of reciprocating it outside there and building that unity among nations, so that our people, wherever they are in the world, feel that sense of togetherness, feel that sense of belonging, and whatever it is. And it's also good for building relationships. So you can do all of that through the UNESCO program that we spoke about, and we can and around the Brian Lara Promenade we could do sporting heroes. Around the Red House we can do legislative heroes, you know, and so on. So you have the city becoming a space that, you know, you're always looking forward to something depending on what your interest is, you know, and that in itself gives it life. And when one thing happens, you never know what else can be added, you know. So to me, we have the Arapita Avenue that work is going on it right now. We are going to be discussing next week the further development of the Brian Lara Promenade, and how we're going to make it, you know, such a greater beautification space. If we beautify Broadway and we link South Key, you will see a whole new dynamic taking place in the city of Port of Spain. When the Desperados Panyard is open on Nelson Street, right? That is going to start changing the dynamic of that. When we pedestrianize Charlotte Street, you know what that will bring about? And it will bring about the fact that cars now have to go to Piccadilly Street, which means that naturally Piccadilly Street is going to develop, you know, and people are going to start seeing a different part of the city that they would have been shying away from for years. But now it's opening, and the dynamic of it is changing. So we letting people feel that, you know, the city is developing, or the city is growing, and things are happening around you. And to me, those little things can go a long way, and it doesn't cost millions of dollars to really develop.
And in terms of little things going a long way, Mayor, looking at being a space that people can feel more included in. There's work going on. You just spoke about Arapita Avenue, and I see that there's been some work on pavements to allow for greater ease of access for individuals who may be differently abled. How long is that in coming? So I see it happening there. Where are some of the other areas that you want to have that done in Port of Spain, and what is the general rationale behind it?
Well, we were hoping too that those things would have taken it would have happened a lot faster. However, a lot of the pavements were not to the international standard. Some pavements were 12 inches tall, some pavements were 8 inches, and so on. So if you have a 12-inch pavement and you have a dip for a handicapped person to come off the ramp, you know what type of trajectory that would be. You know, it would be like you put something there for the person who's differently able, but they can't use it, or they take a risk in using it. And we shouldn't be treating our citizens like that. So therefore, they would have had to resurface or redo some of those pavements in that regard. However, the objective behind the space is to make it a very welcome space. We're going to plant some trees which that have a greater longevity, because some of the trees that were planted on the avenue were not the appropriate trees for the type of space that it was in. However, we are changing all of that. We they are putting in color, and we want to make the space a space that is very welcoming to all citizens. As you know, the activity in that area is tremendous on a weekend and sometimes in the night during the week. Well, we want to make sure it is captured in a nice way and that we don't spoil it. So we have to put in some infrastructure to be able to help it to be a better space.
And quickly, Mayor, we have about a minute more. Closing thoughts as well as the significance of Charlotte Street to Renegades Way, that change in name.
You know, that is coming up on Thursday, I believe. And that is another way, because one of the things for UNESCO, again, is to develop what you call music quarters, right? Which is where steel band is our national instrument. There's so much said around the world about steel pan. We want to be able to embrace it in a much better way, make the steel band also feel that they are part of society and they are part of our development. So we did Neville Jules Junction the other day with Catelli All Stars, right? We are now doing, sorry, not Catelli, but Massey All Stars, my apologies. And we have in DP Renegades, which is Renegades Way. And we will be looking at some of the different spaces, and you will in the not too distant future, you will hear of some of the other developments that are taking place with some of the other steel bands who have been giving us so much service over the years and making and developing such good music, creating communities and people that creates that excitement, not just around carnival time, but we want to be able to do it throughout the year. We want you to be able to walk into a Panyard and feel that you could go to the washroom because it's in good order, feel that you can sit down and enjoy a beverage, get some good food while you are listening to our culture operate and develop in such an explosive way.
It's all about service, people who have given, the way that people who have given service are being honored. And we thank you for your service as well, Mayor Joel Martinez. And on behalf of the entire TTT News team, I'm Dike Rostant. This has been In Depth with me. Thank you so much for joining us.